Step right up, dummies, and listen to the stupidest sports show on earth with Rodney Newpol and Tim Van Stratton. Well, hello, dummies, and welcome to episode number 61 of the stupidest sports show on earth. My name, as you all know, is Tim the Punky QB Van Stratton. Alongside me today is Rodney Newpol. Rodney, good evening. Happy Tuesday. How are you?
Greetings. I'm well, and it is a nice Tuesday, the final Tuesday of April. Playoff basketball, playoff hockey. The draft is finally over.
It goes by so fast.
1 month in already because we started it in mid-March for whatever reason. And what do we got coming up next? We have the Kentucky Derbies this weekend, right?
I learned that today when in our group chat, someone asked, "Hey, Skeeter, who do you have for the Kentucky Derby?" I was like, "Oh shit, okay, that's happening. All right, cool."
Yeah.
I don't care about the Derby at all.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I know a lot of people do. I know you do to a degree, at least enough to bet on it.
Yeah, not really. I really just like to know that morning what the post time is.
Yeah.
So I can try to get it on the TV around that time. But the stuff before it, all that, like, no, not an interest to me. I like to see the 1 minute of them running around the track and see if I have a winner, and that's about it. I have no idea who's going to win. What they say, journalism?
I think journalism. There's a horse called journalism.
So all you journalists out there, that's your guy. Well, that's your horse.
Fighting a losing race.
Fact.
In more ways than one. But yes, so that's this weekend. But yeah, we got a bunch of playoffs right now. As you mentioned, baseball is happening. Your Cardinals are in last or close to last.
They're in fourth. They're ahead of Pittsburgh. The Fighting Pirates continue to struggle. I did map out that Paul Skeens will throw in Chicago on Thursday, and he'll throw in St. Louis next Wednesday. So those of you that like to watch Paul Skeens, although, no, I'm wrong. It's in Pittsburgh. Cubs in Pittsburgh, so the Cubs will face him in Pittsburgh on Thursday. He is pitching in St. Louis then. It would be on Wednesday next week against the Cardinals. So that's a must-watch. But other than that, yeah, Cardinals-Pirates next week. That'll be bad. Bad baseball. Cardinals got rained out tonight. They did not lose on the road.
That's good. That's good. That's an improvement. They're like they're like 2-12 on the road this year, just something heinous. Real quick before we get to some other things, I was blown away. I mentioned to you again in our text chat, not to get too inside here. The Cardinals going into today were tied for the major league lead in batting average, but yet they're 12th in runs. So they're hitting the ball, but they're not scoring, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, it's a bad team. You mentioned odd team or strange team or something like that.
It's a strange team. Like it's, yeah. I know you think bad. It's strange. Like to me, the Rockies are a bad team. Bad. The Cardinals are a strange team, leaning toward the bad side of strange, but more strange than just downright horrendous.
Yeah, bullpen. A lot of bullpen issues in the St. Louis Cardinals. Yeah, only scoring 1 run yesterday in Cincinnati. A lot of issues there. Unfortunately, at the pace they're on, the Cubs are going to be double-digit games ahead of them by June, if not earlier. And so it's going to be another long summer in St. Louis. It already is. And your Reds, maybe, but like Milwaukee's just not it. The Cubs are going to run away with the Central. They're just going to run away with the Central.
Yeah, well, this is the thing with the Cubs, too. I don't expect the offense to just be hitting at this absurd pace all year. But then again, I also expect the pitching maybe to improve a little bit as the year goes on. And maybe the bullpen finds its way from being one of the worst in the league to just being pretty bad, right? Like, the Cubs are the best offensive team in baseball, have a very average, mediocre rotation, and then a horrendous bullpen. It makes for fun baseball, if nothing else. It's a fun combination, and the Cubs have had so many games this year that have been like these WTF games, and against the Dodgers and the Padres, whoever else. They've had a lot of those, so it's been fun baseball. I don't know if it necessarily is going to result in winning in the postseason, but in terms of winning the Central, yeah, I would say they're a very heavy favorite right now. I haven't looked at the odds or anything, but I would imagine that they are a pretty significant favorite at this point in time.
Yeah, yeah, and have a pretty comfortable lead already. Cincinnati, maybe they'll make a run, but I just
Still
don't see
counting on
it.
it.
So yeah,
August.
that's the
Well,
team.
when we do the show in August, we're going to be talking about a Reds, a 12 game winning streak, and it's going to save us. But in the meantime, let's switch over to the NBA here. And as a reminder to everyone who's tuning in, we got 29 people and counting right now that are tuning in. You could drop us a comment, whether it's on Twitter, whether it's on YouTube, and if it passes the vibe check, we'll throw it on the screen. Right? I think that's reasonable.
That's
So
pretty much what happens.
yeah.
If we want,
Talking about, I'm assuming the Cardinals just saying, "Yep, they're bad." So Stevie's on your side there. Look, I don't think that they're a good team. I don't think that they're a playoff team. But like, there's when I think of like, oh, that's a really bad baseball team. Like the Colorado Rockies and the White Sox stand out. By the way,
yeah.
the Rockies right now have 2 fewer wins than the White Sox did at this point last season.
Just, and hardly anybody's talking about Colorado, how bad they are. It's just they're almost just being ignored.
It would be the most White Sox thing ever to have this prominent record. Like you are the team that is the worst team to ever step foot on a baseball field. And it's like, at least you're known for something, right? And then the very next year, someone is worse than you.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the most White Sox thing ever. If that happened, like immediately gets overshadowed by the Rockies. Like
right.
Impossible, man. Like it's very possible. I don't know. All right. NBA, where do you want to start here, man? Today, I'll just right now, I know that, there's a couple games going on in progress. We had one game end 119, 118 in overtime. That was Bucks Pacers. We have the Pistons who are up 4 right now on the Knicks with about 2.5 minutes left. And the Magic are up by 2 on the Celtics at halftime. That's close NBA basketball.
So that would be a monstrous, obviously, a monstrous win for the Detroit Pistons to win at the Garden tonight. There would be their second win in the Garden this series, and give them an opportunity, obviously, to come back home and then possibly force Game 7. We've continued to talk about how New York, wears down. If you get them in that 7-game series, who knows? Maybe you've wore them down. But if Detroit can finish this one off, that's a monstrous win. And I would have to give you the nod because you have Knicks in 6, I have Knicks in 5. So this is a big decider for who wins our series picks. And I've already given you Indianapolis, Milwaukee, because you had the Pacers. Now you had them in 7.
I did have them in 7.
But I had the Bucks in 6.
I mean, I'll take it. I'll take the Pacers in general, but Pacers win that series in 5. I was giving you a little recap of how that game ended today.
Yeah.
So for those who missed it, and this was one of the frustrating things too, because it being where I'm at, right? Like YouTube TV, they don't have the network, the FanDuel Sports Network that the Pacers are on. And because it was an NBA TV game, I was blacked out. So I couldn't watch the Bucks Pacers game where I was at. So I had to just follow it and see what happened. And the Bucks were up 118 to 111 with 37 seconds left in overtime. 7-point lead. Just under 40 seconds left in overtime. The way then that it ended, so for those that did miss it, right? You had Nembhard hit a 3 to make it a 4-point game. Then you immediately had a Gary Trent Jr. turnover that led to an and 1 from Halliburton. So now suddenly it's a 1-point game, 17 seconds left. The Bucks get it across the court, pass it to Gary Trent, who loses the ball out of bounds. I saw the replay of it where it just dribbled right through his fingers, straight out of bounds. 10 seconds left, Pacers ball. Halliburton has Giannis on him at the top of the key, is able to just use his speed to get past him, makes a driving layup, 1 second left. They win the game. And I guess that there was I don't know what had happened afterwards, but both teams were kind of jawing at each other a little bit, including Giannis getting into it with Tyrese Halliburton's father.
Yeah.
So that's how that series ended. So the Pacers advanced. It's going to be Pacers Cavaliers. I thanks for coming out, Pacers. You're going to get steamrolled in that one. I have a Bucks take.
Yeah, I mean, I may be with you because is this the last of Giannis in Milwaukee?
I think so. My take is it's officially officially over for the Milwaukee Bucks. Damian Lillard tore his Achilles in Game 4. He, at his age, at this point where it happened, he's not going to play basketball all of next season. So we're not going to see Damian Lillard step on a basketball court until the earliest fall of 2026, right? They traded Chris Middleton for Kyle Kuzma. Kyle Kuzma, at this point, I don't think his value has ever been lower. They have multiple free agents that are all hitting the market this year. I think Bobby Portis is one. Brooke Lopez is one. They got a couple other, like a lot of their role players right now are expected to hit free agency, and a couple will come back, maybe not, but I think the Bucks right now are looking at where they're at. They're seeing, okay, Cleveland's passed them, Boston's passed them, the Knicks have passed them, Indiana at this point has passed them. It's over. Like, they got the ring, which is awesome. I'm glad they got the ring, but at this point they have to start thinking about the future. They've traded draft picks. They're in a really bad shape for the future, and I think this is the opportunity to hit the reset button, and it's going to be tough. It's going to be really, really tough. And Giannis could just say, hey, I still want to be here. This is the only place that I've played. I love Milwaukee. Like, I want to stay here. I want to get through this. At that point, like, maybe you reconsider, but I'm getting the sense that this is it for Milwaukee, and we're going to see a blow up this summer.
Any chance Giannis lands with your Lakers?
I mean, there's always a chance with the Lakers just somehow ending up with a star. I just like, what would they have to give up to get him? I mean, certainly it's Austin Reeves. I mean, it's basically any single person on the roster that's not named Luka Doncic or LeBron James, right? But the problem with the Lakers is that they don't really have the draft capital to entice Milwaukee enough. Now, granted, if what's his face, the Nico Harrison ends up getting a job with the Milwaukee Bucks this summer, then maybe the Lakers can get him for Rui Hachimura and a first. But I don't know if the Lakers are going to quite have the draft capital to get that done. Like, that's why a lot of people are pegging the Brooklyn Nets as the favorite, because the Nets have set themselves up in a really nice spot draft wise. Like, after going through a long rebuild and just totally neutering all their future. Well, now they're finally like building things up. They have young players. They got a shit ton of picks. Like, that's an option. And a lot of people think that because Giannis has also talked about how much he loves New York City. He has several businesses, I guess, that he owns there. So that's an option. Beyond that, though, like, Miami's cooked. I don't see Miami in it at this point. I think like they're sort of in a rebuild situation, or they're about to be.
And how about that last night? How about that Miami Heat last night? I mean, one of the worst NBA games you'll ever see, ever in the history of the NBA. And not necessarily just because, like, it was bad basketball. It just was, like, so uncompetitive. I don't know if I've ever seen anything like that. Eric Spoelstra's team literally was down 60.
Yeah.
In a playoff.
Yeah. I saved the numbers here. So the Cavaliers in a 4-game sweep, and I think did we have the Heat in 5? I think we gave them a win out of respect.
We did. We had the Heat in 5, and we had OKC in 5 as well.
Yeah, we shouldn't have done that with the Cavaliers. We shouldn't have disrespected them like that.
Or the Thunder.
Right. Yeah. At least the Grizzlies, like, the Grizzlies had their horrific blowout at the beginning of the series, and then sort of got competitive. Like, the Thunder had to come back a couple times in that series. So, like, Memphis at least tried. I think Miami yesterday, it was I want to be done playing basketball. Get me the hell off this court. Like, it was the most gutless, choking dog effort that we've seen from a playoff team in a while. Cleveland won that series in 4 games by 122 points. It was the most lopsided series in NBA playoff history.
That's average of 30.5 points a game. That's insane. Obviously skewed a little bit by the 55 or whatever it was last night.
Okay, but what about the other ones? That's still 3 games and 70 points between those 3 games.
Yeah, not good. Not good for Heat culture. But yeah, though, that's I was going to get to that. You're kind of up 1-0 to 2 ties so far in the NBA playoff predictions, because We tied on Cleveland in 5, and we tied on OKC in 5. Yeah. You got the Pacers, so you're up 1-0 to 2 pushes. Good work.
Is that the only one? I feel like we differed on a couple other series, or is that the only one?
I've got the Lakers in 7. You've got the Lakers in 6.
Not anymore. I don't.
You have zero chance of winning that one.
It's over. Yeah.
I've got the Warriors in 6. You've got the Warriors in 7. So I might be able to.
I think you're going to get that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I might be able to tie you, and then we push on the rest or lose, because we're likely gonna lose this Lakers one. Yeah. So we have Knicks in 5. You have Knicks in 6. So yeah, that's the other decider. It's 104-103 with 6 seconds to go.
Yeah. Anunoby just hit a 3 to make it a 1-point game. So it's going to be Pistons have to inbound the ball. See, but like the way that the series has gone, I wouldn't be surprised if the Pistons turn it over here, and then like it's one of those types of endings. But yeah, that's been a fun series, and like even if it ends up being in 5, like the main thing that I wanted to get across is like Detroit was going to give them a run, and I think they gave them a run. And honestly, like the other time I referenced that is Boston and Orlando. Boston is very likely to win that series in 5 games. But there has really not been a game that series. Maybe there's been one that like the Celtics have won it easily. Like I feel like the Magic have been either like tied or leading after the first half most of the time. And then the Celtics do what they normally do, which is have a big third quarter and then just sort of hold on from there. But like the Magic are giving it to them a little bit, which is nice to see.
So but, I've got this probably on a little delay from the rest of you, but the Pistons are getting ready to inbound the ball. Now they're in the front court the front court, obviously.
All right.
They took the
live play-by-play. Let's do it. Let's do it, Rodney.
So they're inbounding it. They got it in a foul. So we're down to 5.4 seconds to go. Looks like Cade's going to go to the line for 2. So I'll update you as we go here.
Good. That's very exciting. Thank you. The Clippers-Nuggets game also just started. That's been an insane series.
Yeah, no, I still think the Nuggets are going to win this series. It's 2-2. They're at home tonight. I know they've lost one at home. I'm still gonna stick with my Nuggets in 7 in that one.
Yeah, same, but I don't feel. I mean, it's hard to say you feel confident in it, like in a team winning in 7 games. Yeah, I want to see what happens in this Knicks. Who takes the last shot for the Knicks here?
Well, Cade just made the first free throw. Cunningham made the first one. Well, Detroit fouls, right?
Probably should, right? But then again, it's the whole like risk of make the first and then. Well, yeah, I'm surprised more teams don't do that.
Cade made the second. Knicks don't look like they do not have a timeout. He's got to go length of the floor, half court. He got to half court and called a timeout. 2.6 to go. Oh, no, they fouled. They fouled before he got there. So the Pistons did foul with 2.6 to go.
I love this.
Yeah, great. It's a great show. It'll be great to come back to. It'll be great. If you missed any part of the show, you could go to iTunes, you could go to Spotify, and you can listen to the
iTunes?
Oh, yeah. iHeart, Apple, Spotify, and all those. Miles McBride went to the free throw line, and he clanked it. He clanked the first free throw, so now they have to miss this one, tip it out, and tie it with a 3. Sorry, Miles McBride. Pistons are going to win this game. That's amazing. It's amazing.
Detroit basketball.
And now they're going to go back home for Game 6. That's crazy.
The last thing that the Knicks need is another game against these Pistons just to make them more tired for Boston.
Yeah. But I don't know. Maybe Boston's going to have another game too. They are. Looks like they're now up 2. But
Boston's going to win that. Boston's going to win. Like
I would think. Right? They're at home. All right. So we'll get to other stuff here in a minute. I want to see how this. So Mitchell Robinson's going to check in because clearly you need somebody that's going to tip the ball back. I think that's Mitchell Robinson, right? Yeah. He is. Yeah. Big boy. He's a big boy.
Very big.
Very big. Towns looks confused. Okay, he's going to switch. He's going to switch with Mitchell Robinson. They needed to switch sides there. Miles McBride's still on the line after he missed the first one. Thibodeau looks mad.
Always. Oh, even
Always.
if he's happy, he looks mad. Yeah.
All right, here's the miss. And it's up. And he misses. And we did get it out, but nobody was there to shoot it. And the Pistons win 106-103. We're going to game 6, Detroit basketball. So you are likely going to win that one. If the Knicks win the series, you'll get it in 6 or 7.
I mean, the Pistons could win that series.
Yeah, they could. They could. But if the Knicks
they won't. They won't, but they could.
Yeah. All right, where do you want to go next?
Pistons. Real quick, I just wanted to officially announce that the Lakers season is dead and gone. It's over. Even if they win game 5, it's done. Yeah.
They cannot win 3 in a row.
No. The T-Wolves have proven to be a matchup nightmare for the Lakers. Anthony Edwards has been the best player in the series. I think that's where we went wrong. I think that we assumed the best player in the series was going to be Luka or LeBron. And don't get me wrong, like, they've had their moments. But like the whole thing with having a team with Luka and LeBron James is that in the fourth quarter and in the moments where you need them, not to be like a Skip Bayless type, but like in the last minutes of a close playoff game, you need those guys to hit the shots. I think game 4 was a perfect example where, you know, LeBron and Luka are great 3 quarters, and then neither of them are doing anything in the fourth quarter, while Anthony Edwards on the other side is taking over. And we're seeing it where if you look at the way that this whole series has gone, the Lakers have won the first quarter of this series very comfortably. They've even won the third quarter very comfortably. However, the Timberwolves in the fourth quarter have outscored the Lakers, not just in every single game. The fourth quarter scoring margin is 105-69. That's your difference. Good. No, that's your difference. And that's because the Timberwolves have more depth, right? Like they can, like JJ Redick didn't make a single substitution in the entire second half of game 4.
That's wild.
The same 5 guys, right? Same 5 guys, one of whom is 40 years old, playing the entire second half. Meanwhile, Minnesota can, you know, change things up. They could bring DiVincenzo. You know, they could swap out McDaniels. They could go small. They could go big with Gobert. Like they could bring Naz Reid out there. They have all these different combinations, right? And then the Lakers are just trying to roll with the same 5 guys because they don't really have the depth right now. And they don't have the depth that's able to go up against Minnesota, who's bigger, who's more athletic, and who can just get after it. And it's a matchup nightmare. And I got to give the Timberwolves credit. They're playing their ass off in this series, and they're going to move on. And they'll end up playing Golden State in the second round, which that'll be awesome, right? That'll be a great series. And then, you know, Lakers, I think, will have to ask how they want to build this roster next year. Certainly having a center that isn't Jackson Hayes is a priority. And then just figuring out how else you want to build out the roster. I don't believe that they should just blow it up and go star hunting for a Giannis or whoever, but there's definitely ways that they can improve this team going into next year.
And Minnesota's going to eliminate Golden State too, aren't they?
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I'm ready to say that Minnesota OKC is going to be your Western Conference final.
And Cleveland, Boston still in the East.
Yeah. Which the only bad thing about that is that your NBA ratings take a hit because the Lakers T-Wolves series right now is getting bonanza ratings. That's not because of the Timberwolves.
Right. No, it's not.
It's not because of the Timberwolves. So like it Anthony Edwards freaking rules. The Timberwolves are super fun. I really love watching them, and they're going to put up a hell of a series against Golden State. The casuals are going to miss it though. Like they're not going to tune into it, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wanted to get ahead of that. The game 5's tomorrow night. It's in LA. Lakers could win, but even if they win game 5, I think it ends in 6. It's sad, but that's how I feel.
Well, at least hockey guy Dan will be excited for that one. His Minnesota sports team will get you eliminated.
The Timberwolves don't even feel like a Minnesota sports team right now because it's like, Minnesota sports is like you keep waiting for them to like pull a Minnesota sports and to just mess up, but then Anthony Edwards will just do something amazing, and it's like shit, man. This is not how it's supposed to go.
No, but they need something because the Wild are losing tonight. We can move to hockey since that's kind of a nice transition. Go from the Timberwolves to Wild. Wild are in a 2-2 series, and they're down 2-1 in Vegas tonight. How about the Senators, though? I think we're both a little I don't know. I have the Maple Leafs in 6, and I remember this conversation. We said something like this was going to happen because it was the Maple Leafs, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you had the Maple Leafs in 5, so you cannot win this one. I could win it with one more win from Toronto, but what are we surprised at the National Hockey League playoff with the Stanley Cup chase? What are we surprised at?
Every single Eastern Conference series being 3-1, and then every single Western Conference series being 2-2 after 4 games. That's been a
Yep.
nice, fun
But
update.
yeah, the Western Conference doesn't surprise me over a whole lot. Although I did have the Jets in 5. That was more of a pick on my own team, be pessimistic, pessimistic, and then I had the Oilers in 5. So I don't know what went wrong there, except for they just don't play defense.
I mean, I had Vegas in 4, but just out of spite.
Yeah, that is true. My St. Louis Blues, obviously, I know everybody's excited about what the Blues have done, and they've chased Connor Hellebuck twice now, back-to-back series. That's awesome. That's great. That's fantastic. But as I told you in the group chat on Sunday, they still have to go to Winnipeg, a place that hardly anybody has won all season, and win one of these next 2 out of, they got to win one of the next 2 in Winnipeg. I think that series is going 7 because St. Louis has looked so good at home. They've blitzed the Jets at home. Game 3 is a hockey game like I've never seen from even the Cup years. The way the Blues were flying around to the puck, hitting at every turn, not necessarily dirty, just hitting at every turn. They have to obviously withstand that on the road. I'm not sure they will. I do think this series is going 7. But I mean, I don't think you're surprised by Hellebuck being having struggles in the postseason. I tried to get you to put him as the playoff MVP, and you're like, oh hell no, I'm not doing it. But Blues Jets tomorrow night 8:30. That should be a fun one because the Jets are going to go back to Winnipeg pissed off.
Yeah, they're pissed. They got to keep going back and forth from Winnipeg to St. Louis. Like that's just so much travel. It's a whole thing. But yeah, like I was pretty confident that the Blues were going to get at least 1 in St. Louis. I'm surprised that it was 2, and I'm surprised that both games were just absolute shellackings. Yeah, Hellebuck, this is now multiple postseasons where he's stunk. And like I was talking to hockey guy Dan about it a couple days ago, and he's like, yeah, Hellebuck, amazing regular season goaltender. But in the playoffs and also in like international championships, Olympics, basically games with stakes, right?
Right.
He stinks. And this has been multiple years now. So like that's a serious problem. And the way that the bracket lines up right now, even if Winnipeg does get past the Blues, it's going to be Dallas or Colorado on the other end.
Yeah.
And I'm picking Dallas or Colorado, either one over Winnipeg in that series. So like that's very, very concerning if you're the Jets because your franchise rests on that guy.
Yeah,
like
it does.
He is your MVP. Like that is your best player, and you go where he goes. Now, like I think the Jets probably now have to go into this offseason. And I know we're talking as if they already died, but like for real, they need to go into this offseason and say, okay, we need to expect Connor Hellebuck to maybe lose a little bit of gas once we get to the playoffs. So we need to make sure that this team is freaking like 4 lines deep. We're rock solid. And so that way we're able to make up for that a bit because we're seeing some of their deficiencies once Hellebuck becomes human again.
Right. Moving to just in general, the hockey play. So after half the first round is over, who wins the Stanley Cup? On the line right now, who wins the Stanley Cup?
I'm still taking the Florida Panthers, man. I think they're gonna go back to back. Like, dude, the freaking Panthers are great. They were down. Do you see what happened yesterday in the game?
I mean, I know they're now up 3-1. They were down early, right? They came back to win 4-2. Were they down 2-0? No, they were down 2-1 and then scored 3 straight in the third period.
Yeah. So to more specifically, right? So they were down. What was it? Yeah, it was 2-1, and then they scored the game tire with about a little under 4 minutes left. 11 seconds later, they scored the go-ahead goal. And then about 2 minutes after that, they scored the empty netter to finish. Like, that team is really deep. They had they are skating a line with Brad Marchand, Matthew Tkachuk, and Sam Bennett.
Yeah.
Like, it's no one wants to play that team. Bobrovsky's sort of the opposite right now, where like Bobrovsky has seemed to dial it up in the postseason. But I love their path, the way that the Eastern Conference is looking right now, because really Tampa Bay is their biggest rival. They're going to beat Tampa Bay. So then after that, they're going to get matched up against Toronto. They're going to crush Toronto because Toronto, I think, doesn't have the physicality to beat Florida in a 7-game series. And then they face, Montreal or not Montreal, Washington or Carolina. I think Florida's got a great path to get to the Stanley Cup again, and then we'll see who they face at the end. But like, to win, you not only have to be super talented and have a lot of skill, a lot of guys that can score goals, but you also have to be physical. And the Panthers have done that now the last 2 years, and I think they're going to do it again. Like, I think this is your new sort of top dog, kind of what the Lightning were just a few years ago, where you could say like that's a team that should win the conference every year.
The Devils are trying to stay alive in Carolina tonight. It's in overtime. It's 4-4. And like you said, the Wild Knights are in the first period, and the Oilers Kings just getting started. So that's another question I had. So last night we had 2 NBA, 2 NHL. Tonight we have 4 NBA, 4 NHL.
I got nothing. I don't know. Tuesday. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know why they decided to play. I mean, they wanted to jam on in the weekends because it's weekend, and then had the Monday off. I'm not sure, but and then 3 NHL games tomorrow. The Canadians will look to stay alive in Washington. The Panthers will look to win the series in Tampa, and then that Blues Jets game's at 8:30. So
what was the over under for the Edmonton LA game tonight? Because you remember what was it on Friday, right? Was it Friday where we said we were like, why is the over under only 5.5?
Yeah.
And there ended up being, what was it, 11 goals?
Yeah, so they bumped it to 6.5 tonight. Kings -20 at 6.5. Okay. Now they've played 9 minutes, about 8, just over 8 minutes, and no score.
0-0.
So,
yeah. Kings don't have a shot on goal yet. I think maybe they might have one pretty soon here on a power play. But yeah, that series has had 11 goals, 8 goals, 11 goals, 7 goals. That's scoring. I'd like that's fun. So just like strange to me that we're not upping it to 7.5, right? Like, I don't know.
Who knows? We're not Vegas. Vegas
I'm still
wins.
taking the Oilers to win that series, though, by the way, for the record.
I have Oilers. Unfortunately, we both have the Oilers in 5.
Why did we do that? That's
I don't know.
Bad idea.
Yeah, it was. We were not understanding what the Kings could do. But I had the Panthers in 7, and that's not going to get 7. You had them in 6. So you had the Caps in 4, so you're not going to win that one. I have them in 5. Here's my chance tomorrow.
Yeah.
What
do we have for the Hurricanes?
I have them in 4. You have them in 5.
Ooh, there's a big one tonight. Big one for the Canes.
Yeah, it's 4. It's overtime. They've played about 7.5 minutes of overtime and still no goals. Devils trying to stay alive there.
That's a fun one. It was 4-4 about halfway through the game, right?
Yeah.
Like it was 11:27 left in the second period. Aho scores the game tire. It's 4-4. So they've played a period and a half, and now 7 minutes of overtime with no scoring after scoring 8 goals in the first 30 minutes of regulation.
Well, the Devils scored 3 in the first 10 minutes. They were up 3-0 in that game. So it was 3-0 after 1 before Taylor Hall made it 3. It was 3-0 after 1. Taylor Hall made it 3-1. It went to 3-2, 3-3, and then the Devils took another lead. So they've had 2 leads in this game. This is one they'll be eliminated, but this is one that they really feel they should win.
I don't think there's a worse feeling in hockey than when your team goes up 3-0 so early and lulls you into that sense of security, and then they just give the whole thing up.
Yeah.
Like I would rather my team get shut out than to go up 3-0 and then choke it and lose.
Yeah, you're 100% right. And so that game the other night with the Blues, it was game 3. They scored 2 quick. 2 goals quick. And Jonah was watching with me for a while, and I told him, I'm like, listen, I know a 3-goal lead's the worst, but this is the one opportunity I want a 3-goal lead because like you get 2 and then it's 2-1 in a playoff game. You feel like you've lost all that momentum. So yes, I understand what you're saying. Losing a 3-goal lead sucks, but there are some times when you just get that feeling, you get that vibe of like, oh man, we have to have a 3-goal lead because if it goes 2-1, we've let this number 1 seed, this President's Trophy team, right back in it at 2-1. Now the Blues did end up making it 3-0. In fact, I think it was 4-0 in that game. But yeah. So, I you're right. Blowing a 3-goal lead, never fun.
No, it's just playoff hockey, man. It'll do things to you. It'll put you in some very bad spots mentally.
You are correct.
Yeah. But it's one of those things where it's like, God, I hate this so much. I hope it lasts for 2 more months.
Right.
that's
going to bed late watching hockey.
Yeah, that's true. What Western Conference playoff hockey in particular, just like staying up late, not getting sleep. You're all just like anxious.
Yeah, because the Blues will be 8:30 tomorrow night if they do somehow upset Winnipeg. Now, fortunately, it would be either Dallas or Colorado, but even Colorado can get some. They could do a 9:00 start, especially in the playoffs because they're going to want to stagger. They're going to want to stagger start time. So my Blues, obviously, if they could get past Winnipeg, may have Colorado, and then they would likely have they would probably have Vegas or Edmonton or LA. So. Yeah, you're definitely looking at West Coast games and you're looking at late starts. So I hope we get to that point. You're right. I hope it is a month from now and they're playing in Vegas for game 5, but we'll see. We'll see. It's been a fun playoff so far.
All right. Shall we move on here to a couple other topics?
Yeah, no, I think we want to talk a little draft. You haven't got your draft talk yet. And you kind of put it right there. A lot of shit.
Friday. I got some first round takes on Friday. I mean, we're not going to sit here and talk about like the prospects in particular. I just you didn't watch any of the drafts on Friday, Saturday?
Not really. I know what happened. So a funny story. I was coaching softball. My daughter plays softball, and there's a Packers fan that has a daughter on the team, and he was following the draft, and I was like, hey. I need you to do one thing. I don't care where if I'm out coaching third or if Shedeur gets drafted, I need you to let me know. And he did. It was like in between pitches of us playing defense. He's like, hey coach, Shedeur, Cleveland, 5th round. I'm like, oh, that's interesting because 4 months ago he was going to go as the number 2 pick to Cleveland. So yeah. So anyways, I'll let you get your Shedeur talk off here, but yeah, a lot of Shedeur talk going on.
Yeah, there's only so many takes that you and I can give that haven't already have already been like shared by other people. I just there's no part of this to me that feels like collusion. There's no part of this that feels like this is a deliberate attempt to like humble him. I just think that it's a combination of a prospect who thought that he was a lot better than he actually was, that treated sort of the interviews more like I think the quote that I saw a couple days ago, like executives were saying that he came into those meetings treating it more like a recruiting visit as opposed to a job interview. Right. I think that is what sort of the downfall was. And, there's all these other things about him, not being prepared in terms of like, certain things that they're running through with teams. Like it was a whole calamity of missteps during the pre-draft process. Plus, like he wasn't a perfect prospect by any means.
Right.
Like there were already debates about whether he was a legitimate first round level quarterback. Like remember, like people were saying Cam Ward last year would have been like QB5, QB6, right? And Cam Ward was significantly ahead of Shedeur Sanders as a prospect, like after the whole sort of combine and pro days and workouts and everything. Once these teams got their hands on him, they could see, oh yeah, Cam Ward's way ahead. So like Shedeur was already looking at a day 2 pick, but then you add on all the other things. That's not collusion. That's just bombing an interview. just being bad at getting prepared to become a professional. So I don't think it's anything more than that. Like that's how I read it. But as far as Cleveland like taking Shador, uh, it that to me feels very obvious. Like Jimmy Haslam was like, "Hey, let's make a move here. Let's make the move." Like what I why would they take him after drafting Dylan Gabriel 2 rounds earlier?
Yeah, it's odd, isn't it? Now they have what,
It
5 quarterbacks in the quarterback room?
Yeah, so Deshaun Watson, who's likely not going to play this year. Um, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Dylan Gabriel, Shador Sanders. Like who starts week 1? Let me ask you that. You're the fantasy football guy. Who starts for that team week 1? I think the odds right now are Kenny Pickett is the favorite to start, which is just a disgusting thing to say.
Yeah, I mean, I my first instinct is you're going to go with the veteran of Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he's got the most, obviously the most experience. But do you want to waste your time with a 40-year-old Joe Flacco starting that franchise? That's a great question. Kenny Pickett, though, like, what upside do you have from starting Kenny Pickett?
Yeah, I don't know. Like I'm and you know, typically you're not going to dress more than 3 quarterbacks.
Right.
So, like is Shador Sanders is he even going to be on the roster? Is he going to be practice squad? Like is Dylan Gabriel who used a 3rd round pick on, is he going to make the team? Like that's what I'm saying. Like any other 5th round quarterback who's looking at QB4 right now in the depth chart is probably going to be a practice squad guy. But then again, it's like you shouldn't have a practice squad guy that you just took in the 5th round. Though that's a 7th round and that's an undrafted free agent. That's what I don't understand about how this lines up here, which is why I think this is just pure ownership. Like, hey, get him. We'll figure it out from there. Because it certainly didn't look like Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski were super pumped to land Shador Sanders. But that's just me.
Yeah, and now, especially from Stefanski's side, is he's got to deal with the media circus that was and will be Shador Sanders. We're going to hear about this, and we're going to hear him, and his group kind of talking about the lack of respect, and that's going to continue to go all the way through camp. And ESPN's going to be at camp, and they're going to want to talk to Shador, and it's a 5th round, it's a 5th quarterback in a quarterback room, like. Dudes on that team are not going to want to see the media go into the 5th string quarterback during training camp, right? Like, it's going to be a circus. So it was an interesting choice. I mean, obviously, they're hoping he comes out and he balls out, and they say, "Hey, this is the greatest pick in the NFL draft because we got this guy at the 5th round. All you jokers missed on him, 150 picks." But I don't know. I don't know as if that's going to happen, but yeah. So, and that's what a lot of the draft has been. A lot of Shador talk. Real quick, are you happy with your Giants draft weekend?
I'm very happy. Yeah. It's the general consensus is they knocked it out of the park. I feel like they did a really, really great job of addressing needs that, and while also getting like value. Like I don't think they reached for anyone. In fact, I think that they got like Cam Scatabo is a guy that I think that they were probably considering earlier, but the fact that they were able to get him at the top of the 4th round was awesome. He's the perfect complementary back to Tracy. Like they've set themselves up really, really nice, and I feel like they have an identity after this weekend. So yeah, very pumped with the draft. I had a couple fun draft notes that I wanted to throw your way here. So number 1, Will Howard is the Pittsburgh Steelers. So the Steelers didn't draft their quarterback until the 6th round. So now Will Howard's in a QB room with Mason Rudolph and someone else. It's uncomfortable. Do you think Rodgers ends up there? I'm starting to think Aaron Rodgers is going to retire.
I mean, yeah, I think he might retire too and just say, you know what, I'm not going to go through this again. I'll go out to my cave in Montana and call it a week, call it a season. But yeah, I mean, I just can't see him being totally intrigued by Pittsburgh.
And then the last thing is, what if I told you back in September? So let's go back to September of 2024. What if I told you that the Miami Dolphins drafted Quinn Ewers and Ollie Gordon? You would have been like, holy crap, did they get multiple first round picks?
Right.
Like, what happened there? Well, Quinn Ewers was the 13th and final quarterback taken in the draft. He was the 7th round pick, and they got Ollie Gordon in the 6th round. Obviously, like injuries had a huge role for that, but that's like some big names that the Dolphins were able to add at the bottom of their draft.
Yeah, and I mean, again, I mean, those are big names, and maybe names that could come back and be big assets to them late in the draft. But yeah, I never would have predicted those two that late into the same team. Because you're right, big names there.
Big names. All right, we got just a few minutes left here. Shall we do a quick Mount Rushmore 61s?
Yeah. Did you want to reference the baseball reference? Or
Let's do baseball reference Friday. Let's do a Friday.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So Mount Rushmore's of 61. So I could
Roger Maris's 1961 season. I think.
Yeah, there you go. All done. Baseball's our winner here, though. We've kind of started to find that there are some pitchers that are getting some of these numbers. Livan Hernandez is the best probably pitcher.
Yeah,
right?
in terms of just like his length wearing the uniform, yeah. Now I'll throw this out there. So Josh Beckett only wore the 61 for 6 years. It was his first 3 years with the Marlins, including his World Series year, and then Dodgers in the 2010s. So like Beckett didn't have it a ton, but like career-wise, he had a nice career. But like, yeah, Livan Hernandez, Bronce Arroyo, Chan Ho Park, the guys that wore 61 pretty much the length of their entire career, I think are our best options for baseball.
So Livan would be our top choice.
So the one downside about looking at just WAR, I've discovered, is that you really leave off the guys that are currently wearing 61. So I'm trying to look through just to see, like Christopher Sanchez, for instance, good pitcher on the Phillies right now. I mean, he's only got a career WAR of 6 because he's a younger guy, but he's someone who could potentially shoot up this list as we continue to do this.
Okay.
I don't think we're going to put him on there on our Mount Rushmore of 61s, but that's just an example. Just want to open up the possibilities.
So National Hockey League, there are some decent ones.
We got good ones here. Yeah.
Yeah. So the one I want to mention is Rick Nash, right? Rick Nash was 61. Good. And I believe Mark Stone currently is 61 for Vegas.
I think both of those guys could be on the Mount Rushmore. I really do.
Yeah. No, both good names. I was trying to think. I don't know if there's anybody else necessarily in the National Hockey League. Your boy Troy Terry, 61, right?
He was like his first couple years in the league, and then he switched to 19, and that's his big boy number. But Cutter Gauthier, if we're talking Ducks, Cutter Gauthier wears number 61.
National Basketball Association, NBA. I just think, no, nobody wore 61.
NFL, I have a suggestion. So the number one player is a guy named Nate Newton.
Yeah. Okay.
He was an offensive lineman, 6-time Pro Bowler, 2-time All-Pro, 3-time Super Bowl champ. He was a staple on the Dallas Cowboys offensive line as their left guard, right? So, but the reason that I think Nate Newton deserves a spot on our Mount Rushmore is because of his nickname. Nate Newton's nickname is The Kitchen. It's a great nickname.
It is a great nickname.
Forget about the refrigerator. How about the whole damn kitchen?
He's the whole kitchen.
Whole kitchen. So Nate Newton, I would be willing to throw him up there, give him the respect that he deserves. And plus, like, he is technically by Pro Football References standards the best player to wear 61 in NFL.
I'm good with that.
I'm good with that.
3-time Super Bowl champ, 6-time Pro Bowler. I'm good with Nate Newton. But the question then was, so 2 hockey guys. We could go Rick Nash. We could go
Mark Stone.
We could go Nate Newton and then Livan.
I'm good with that. I think that works.
And that's not terrible.
It's not terrible. I mean, look, it is it what we had, when we were doing this in the 30s? No, but like the fact that we were able to put together a whole Mount Rushmore and feel good about it afterwards, I'll take that as an absolute win, my friend.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think it's an acceptable one for 61. I never would have guessed. I never would have guessed that we would have gotten that solid of a one. And again, it's not like you said it, not amazing, but solid. It was solid. So
Solid.
there we go.
Like Nate Newton, solid.
Solid.
The
The whole
kitchen.
damn kitchen.
The whole damn kitchen. I didn't want to make that my nickname today. I didn't want to spoil the kitchen, but yeah, I saw that on Pro Football Reference and I was like, that's it. Congratulations, Nate Newton. You're on the Rushmore. You're on the mountain. So feel good about that. Now, I can tell you, I don't have a single number 62 that comes into my head immediately, nor do I have a 63 really. Pretty much like I like all the way up until maybe 65. I think I got like a 65 and a 66 and a couple of those. But as of right now, like the next couple of weeks, I'm really going to have to do some research, which goes against everything this show normally stands for.
Right? Yeah. No, I'm with you. We're going to have to dig deep for these next few.
What's the before we get out of here, how is our Celtics Magic game looking?
Yeah, I was looking at that National Hockey League game. Devils Hurricanes still 4-4.
Okay.
Have not broken that tie. The Celtics are up 101-75. The dam broke in the second half. The dam broke in the second half. We are going to tie on that one. We both have Celtics in 5.
Oh man, what happened?
Now the Nugs are up 11 on the Clippers early second, 39-28. Good start in Denver. But yes, this Boston-Orlando game went south quickly. 36-13 third quarter.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I literally just said it earlier. Every game it's the same script. Orlando is either tied or has a small lead first half, and then Celtics have a huge third quarter, and then it's over. And sure enough, 36-13. That's just it's the same thing every single game. It's absurd.
So we have Celtics and maybe Knicks collision course, and we have Cavs, and we have
Cavs Pacers
collision course. All right. I'll take it.
And then Thunder against very likely Minnesota.
Rest in peace, Lakers.
Oh no, sorry. No, it'd be Thunder against Denver
or Clippers. Yeah.
Denver or Clippers. Okay, so no. So but Minnesota against likely Golden State is what we're looking at.
We'll know a little bit more on Friday. Maybe we could start our second round picks on Friday. Not a lot of them are going to be over. I mean, I guess the Warriors can end it tomorrow. The Timberwolves can end it tomorrow. Knicks. Yeah, so we'll have a bunch more ended.
I think Houston beats them game 5.
I don't know, man. Back at Houston, maybe, but Jimmy Butler, when he's playing, that Warriors team's pretty good.
But here's the thing: the Warriors are a team that does really, really well with urgency.
Yeah,
I don't think they'll have urgency in a game 5 on the road. I think this is a game that Houston feel like this is obviously a must win for Houston, right? Like I think they're going to come out, they're going to big, and Golden State is not going to really sort of fight it if Houston gets out to a big lead.
I could see that.
Houston's a 4.5 point favorite. I'll tell you right now. I think the cover there is very, very much in play. That's just. I know that you handle best bets for betting, but that's a little bonus nugget from the Punky QB here. So.
Speaking of best bets for betting, now you can sign up for our Substack. Go to Substack, sign up for the Stupid Sports Show. So I promised you I was trying to get back to the positive numbers. Well, I had a pretty good weekend, and we are now only down 3.2 units in April, which means for the year we're still up 31 units. Now,
bam.
Tonight's games, okay, maybe it was a little bit of a struggle. I had Toronto. That's not going to work. I had the Pacers, but I had them at -7.5.
Only announce the wins. Announce the wins.
So I had the Cubs. That's a winner. What the Phillies and Nationals do? I had the Phillies winning that one. I bet they won.
I could tell you right now. Let me pull up some baseball scores. I mean, the good thing is like you throw a lot of volume out there too.
7-6. Phillies. So, anyways, I'll update how it went tomorrow, but I've started to creep back. Now, tomorrow is the final day of April. Can't promise we're going to be over 500, but we've gotten some units back. And then May on Thursday means I'm going to get red hot with the for the Substack. So sign up for Substack. Have gone 31, 28, 59, 60, 90, about 120 straight days, boys and girls, of the Substack. Can you believe we're a fourth of the way through 2025 already?
It's flying, man.
Excuse me. No, we're
Fine.
a third. We're a third.
Third. Yeah, it's
one third of the way.
I'm not ready. Not ready. Do you see my Yankees today?
I know they're in first place, and your former Angels have now fallen to last.
They led off the game with 3 straight homers for the second time this season.
Because of the pencil bats.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's the pencil bats. Yeah. Aaron Judge is now hitting .412 on the season with a 1235 OPS.
Ben Rice.
Stud. I call him Uncle Ben. I don't know if other people are calling him that, but I've given him the nickname Uncle Ben.
Is he really?
3 for 5 today.
Is he really that good?
Bombs. I love him. I love him. Now, do I think that he is going to be their permanent solution behind Aaron Judge? Maybe not, but like the guy's hitting well and he's hitting the ball hard. Like I don't think it's a total fluke right now. I'll say this: pretty much everyone except Cody Bellinger is hitting in that lineup for the most part.
So you know what the wild thing is that Paul Goldschmidt is hitting 361.
Yeah, and it was like in the 380s about a week ago.
But the wild thing that I can't say I knew is that he has 1 home run.
Yes, it was the first weekend of the season.
Yeah, that was when I bet on him. Yeah. It's the only home run he's hit all year.
That's it. Yeah, no, there's no power. There's no power, but he's getting hits. So, yeah, but like Rice is hitting homers, Judge is hitting homers. Trent Grisham, I referenced earlier. Trent Grisham is 8 homers now for the year.
Hey, you want Jazz now?
You had your chance, buddy. you had your chance to take me to the cleaners, but you're like, no, I don't want Nolan over that. Even though Nolan hasn't really done anything either, like since we made that trade. But yeah, nope. Jazz is down to $181, and he left the game with an injury today.
Yeah, a right flank discomfort.
I don't know what that means, but it sounds dangerous.
I don't either. He hurt his flank. How do you hurt your flank? I don't know. I've never heard of that injury. A right flank discomfort. Anyways.
I mean, honestly, though, if you still do want to swap Nolan for Jazz, I'd consider it 1 for 1 with an audience watching right now.
I'll think about it. I'll let you know on Friday.
You have 24 hours. Now, how about yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Let's see the extent. Let's get my medical guys to give Jazz a little rundown. Let's see what the injury is, the severity, and then we'll talk Friday.
But really, what the hell is it?
And then you could have Nolan before Sunday. You could have Sunday Nolan this weekend. Something to consider.
Good bet, Skeeter. Good job jumping on that last Sunday. Did the Nolan bet. Why would you do it on the Sunday after he hits a walk-off Saturday night? You know he's not going to go back-to-back. Stupid bet, Skeeter. Stupid bet. You can only take – you don't take him. Bet. Yeah, stupid. Anyways, it's probably about time to get out of here. On Friday, I know you have some – I'll tease it. You have some baseball reference projections or drunk.
Yeah, the Baseball Reference, just to give you guys a little bit of a preview, Baseball Reference has these playoff odds that they update. They explain what the whole formula is. I'm here to tell you that formula is hot garbage. And we're going to look at what they say are the playoff odds, or we're going to tell you why we should never listen to nerds ever again.
Ever.
So there you go.
There you go. Follow us on Twitter, not X, at Stupid Sports Show, no W on the end. And you can get all the latest from us there. That's probably how you are watching the show right now. And It's about time to get out of here.
Yep. Reminder, you can listen to this episode and all the others on Spotify, Apple, iHeart, as Rodney calls it, iTunes. Wherever you get your podcasts, all 61 episodes of This is Stupidest Sports Show. You know, iTunes has been dead for like 15 years, right?
Yeah.
Maybe not 15, but I would say 10. I would feel confident saying iTunes has not been a thing for about 10 years now.
What happened to it?
I mean, I don't know, man. Open your iPhone. Do you see iTunes there?
I don't know. No, I
There's your
don't.
answer. Like,
No, I don't.
know.
So people just stopped? They stopped iTunes?
No, I think they just have Apple Music now. That's it. There's just no iTunes. They have Apple Music, and you get your podcast from its own podcast app. I think that's it. I mean, there's no iPods.
That's true. Remember when those were cool?
Yeah, they still. Man, I loved my iPod. I loved it. The 64 gig brick. Oh, amazing, amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
I do miss those. Anyway, all right. Enough yearning for the past. For Rod and Newple, this is Tim the Punky QB Van Stratton signing off for another episode of the stupidest sports show on earth. See you guys. Step right up, dummies, and listen to the stupidest sports show on earth with Rodney Newple and Tim Van Stratton.